Hello, welcome to my channel, The Ascension Guide. I'm your guide, Joe Martin. So today we're going to talk a little bit about channeling. In my last channeling session that I went and did, one of the things that came out was we asked about some of the inconsistencies across different channels that you may hear, either through YouTube or whatever other avenues that people have to reach through channeling. And the interesting answer that we got was kind of what I've come to expect at this point from Ariah, and everything is kind of like both sides are true in a lot of ways. But anyways, so a couple of things to look out for when you're watching channels. One, they set a good barometer, I guess, for telling if people are I don't want to say telling the truth, because I feel like everybody is speaking their truth to a degree, but I think that we all know through this process that there is the opportunity for outside interference in the messages. Now, from what I've channeled, when I go to the sessions and we're in this building that has these crystals and we do the whole process and the angels come in and protect the area, and it's a very sacred process, and that is what I was told is lacking from a lot of different channels that are doing the same thing. So like right now, I still get communications from Ariah. We still are in contact, as we speak. However, depending on where my vibration is, if I'm feeling lower, then the messages are easier to distort. They're unclear, or less clear in my mind. So I still get answers, I still get, messages and stuff, but there's other stuff going on too. So it's like, is this a pure message or is this being tainted? So when I share messages here, if it's anything that I feel is super, like this has to be precise type of thing, I only share them from the channeling sessions where I feel like it's safe. The other messages that I get that are kind of obvious, in the moment lessons, or I'll also share those. But like when it comes to predicting the future or other things like that, that's where it gets a little tricky. And what they explained to me too is, there are probable timelines that could happen, in the future, and there's many different probable timelines for each person. Each of these probable timelines makes up the probable timeline for the collective based on the decisions. So you see how confusing it can get. So people can make predictions about the future and have broad, that's why a lot of people are vague when it comes to things, because there's so many different probabilities, especially when you start adding in other people, and the more people you add in, then the more that their individual choices can affect the collective choices, and you see how it goes. So be aware when people are predicting the future, because one thing that they said too to me is, if any messages are resonating in fear, then you can bet that it's more than likely not coming from the angels. Not saying it's not coming from, higher dimensional beings or anything like that, but not from the angel realm. So, and then the other caveat to this also is what they told me. It is also obviously your perception, as everything is. So the, instance that they gave me, the example is, I'll just give my own example since I'm out here sharing everything anyway. A couple of years ago, I applied for an athletic director job, and obviously didn't get it. And I was pretty bummed out at the time, and really just like wondering, like, why I didn't get the job and whatever. I thought I was qualified and whatnot. So, but anyways, now sitting here and doing this work and understanding where my path was intended to go and not being able to see the bigger picture, I totally get that now, and I'm very grateful for, not obviously, because I would still be stuck in that position and not be able to communicate with you guys and do what I'm doing now. So your interpretation of the message may cause strife in your life for that, instance. I obviously thought I wanted that, more money, blah, 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 whatever comes with that. But, in hindsight being what it is now, I'm like so thankful that that didn't end up going through, because now I get to do this work and I get to do what I'm truly supposed to do. And that's a million times better. So it's like that disappointment in the past, or, it was in the present at the time, and I couldn't see the forest through the trees. I obviously had no idea. This has all been within the last month and a half that all this has happened. So, obviously couldn't have predicted back, 2 years ago where I'd be today. But, yeah, so, if it resonates in fear, like, this is going to happen and you have to get ready for it type of thing, like, I would have a hard time saying that's angels that are predicting that type of future. Unless there is, because even so, the reason why I say that is because of what that does to people. Even if there was an event coming like that, I don't think that they would figure out a way to say it so that it doesn't resonate in fear, and try to get that very clearly across, because they understand what the vibration level does across the planet when there's the resonation of fear, and especially when you get it in a mass level that just lowers the vibration of the planet, and that's the complete opposite of what we're trying to do right now. So understand that. Understand when channels say, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I don't know if I say it enough in my videos, but I definitely intend to, that, only take what resonates with you, and that's all you should be listening to, and with anybody. If it doesn't ring true to you, then it's, just ignore it for now, I guess. Because I think there is a level of truth to just about everything. Like we've talked about in previous videos, it's all perception. So there has to be some level of truth to all things. Whether how they play out in the bigger picture, that's unclear to most, including myself. But so yeah, just to kind of recap with the channeling, look for people who understand the process. They understand that there is a chance for interference or misinterpretation of messages. We all have that understanding. They can show me a picture in my head and I can interpret it. It doesn't mean I'm interpreting it 100% correctly. And it doesn't mean I'm interpreting it wrong either. It just could mean that I'm interpreting this much of this much, if that makes sense. And that's a lot of what I feel like the truth is anyway, is just little pieces of a bigger whole, and we just can't even comprehend the bigger whole at this point. And so we just comprehend our little pieces that we can chew off at the time. But yeah, I would definitely, look for people who tell you to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Look for messages that resonate in fear, and understand that through no fault of the channel, I don't want to say it's no fault of theirs. It's kind of an ignorance thing if they don't know, or if they do know, then I guess it is their fault. But if they're not doing their due diligence to protect their energy when they're channeling, then they are susceptible to outside interference. Negative subliminal messaging, telepathic, distortion of the thoughts, those sort of things that have happened to myself, and I'm sure they've happened to you, and you probably didn't even realize. So be aware that all those factors can play a part, and that's why we always say, take what resonates and leave what doesn't, because there is a lot of interference, and the third part of this is there are charlatans. There are people who are just out there to spread false information. There's people out there who are completely made up, that don't channel anybody, that so there's all these different sides to this, and you can see how this can create conflicting information coming from different sides, and some of it is through intention, and some of it is simply through misinterpretations or being misguided. So take everything that you hear with a grain of salt for the most part. Understand what resonates with you and what doesn't, and take what you think sounds right and leave what doesn't. So I hope this video helps you to clarify a little bit with the channeling and some of the process, and how you know, I feel like most people have the right intention, and we're trying to do this for the right reasons. We're trying to get out the message as best that we can, the best that we understand, and you know, just understand that sometimes there's issues in that process, and it's not always within our. It is within our control, but it isn't at the same time, like I explained. So, if you know what to do and you're not doing it, you know, that's on you. If you're ignorant to the situation, it is what it is. And that's why we need to tell people and let them know too, so that if they're not protecting themselves, they can, and then the messages can be pure, and then we know that we're getting the right information out. So, all right, if this message, you know, if this message resonates with you, please go ahead and hit the like button and share. It definitely helps the algorithm and helps the channel to grow, so that more people can see these messages. And you know, if it's resonating with you, please subscribe. That way, it lets me know that, you know, you guys are getting something out of these messages, which, you know, I can see the channel growing, and I appreciate the likes and the love and the comments and everything. It's amazing, and I really appreciate all of you guys, so thank you. And you know, as always, if you have any questions or comments, concerns, anything that you'd like to ask, not even, doesn't have to be related to this video, but go ahead and leave a comment below. And I also have my email address if you'd like, you know, a little bit more one-on-one instead of everybody seeing your, you know, comments or concerns. So all right, thanks everybody, until the next video, love and light.